stories this evening, sponsored by Courts, bringing value home. Ali backs CARICOM'S decision as a TNT challenges reappointment of Secretary General. Guyana pushes back against the Suriname river fees. Talks intensify. Charity SEAMSTRESS pleads for fair treatment as stall issues threaten livelihood. Ministry of Human Services and Social Security launch sexual awareness campaign. And in sport, West Indies Players Association to launch probe into all-rounder Kevin Sinclair's exclusion from Guyana squad. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm ALETHEA Grant with the Thursday 9th April 2026 edition of the HGP Nightly News. We will tell you this evening that a regional disagreement is intensifying within CARICOM as Trinidad and Tobago challenges the reappointment of its Secretary General. But President Irfaan Ali is standing firm on Guyana's position. Travis Chase reports.
President Irfaan Ali on Wednesday defended the decision to reappoint Dr. Carla Barnett as CARICOM's Secretary General, stating that the process followed was consistent with established procedures with CARICOM. Speaking on the sidelines of an event at the Guyana Defense Force headquarters, the president made it clear that Guyana fully supports the reappointment and was actively involved in the discussions that led to the decision.
I was involved in the discussions as all other heads on the reappointment of the Secretary General. We support the reappointment of the Secretary General. That's the first thing, so I hope that brings clarity.
Dr. Barnett secured another term earlier this year during the 50th meeting of CARICOM heads of government held in St. Kitts and Nevis, where leaders deliberated and arrived at a majority position following internal consultations.
I was there when the Secretary General was appointed the first time, and we did not follow any process that is different from the first time. You know, when you go to CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, there is, of course, the general meeting, the plenary, and then there's the caucus. And this matter was discussed in caucus, and the views were exchanged, and the decision was taken.
However, the move has sparked objections from Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who has publicly rejected the outcome, arguing that the process lacked transparency and warned that her government may reconsider its engagement with CARICOM unless the matter is addressed. Trinidad and Tobago has since formally written to CARICOM's chairman Terence Drew, placing its objection on record and calling for further clarity on the decision. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Fresh tensions are brewing between Guyana and Suriname over new charges imposed for the use of the Corentyne River. President Irfaan Ali says, though, the issue is now a top priority with intensified diplomatic efforts on the way. Here again is Travis Chase.
President Irfaan Ali on Wednesday made it clear that ongoing talks with Suriname remain active as Guyana pushes for the removal of recently introduced fees for the use of the Corentyne River. According to the head of state, the matter has been elevated to a high-level priority, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs leading continued engagements. He indicated that further advocacy efforts are expected to intensify within days as Guyana works to secure a timely resolution.
It's a priority matter for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so every day they're engaged on it. Yesterday was for a specific purpose, and that was to pay tribute to President Santokhi, to honor the work and partnership that we had. And that was the primary focus. But yes, of course, I raised the matter with the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And listen, in another few days, we will step up our advocacy in getting this matter sorted.
The dispute stems from Suriname's decision to impose charges on river usage, a move Guyana has formally objected to, citing concerns over its impact on established cross-border arrangements and economic activity. The new fees are set to be particularly affecting local operators in the timber and quarry sectors, both of which depend heavily on access to the Corentyne River for transportation and trade. While the president did not confirm whether Suriname has responded to Guyana's formal protest, he assured that government officials remain actively engaged on the issue.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is dealing with a diplomatic note. That's the Ministry of, you can speak to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs about that.
Earlier this year, President Ali had warned that the imposition of such charges could disrupt trade, create uncertainty for businesses, and undermine long-standing cooperation between the two neighboring states. He emphasized that Guyana's approach remains rooted in dialogue and mutual respect, while urging Suriname to reconsider the measures in the interest of preserving stronger bilateral ties and regional economic stability. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal has firmly defended central government's decision to assume control of several key streets in Georgetown. However, the Attorney General is now slamming the city's mayor for attempting to make up for an imminent revenue shortfall. Marvin Cato reports.
Georgetown Mayor Alfred Mentor, while on the program Sources hosted by Svetlana Marshall, informed that with the government's action of wresting control of more than 50 city streets away from the municipality, the council is now looking at the possibility of reintroducing parking meters to make up for the shortfall in revenue, since removing those income-generating streets would put a dent in the council's balance sheet.
Now, if we want to look back at parking meter, at least in central Georgetown, how do we deal with those issues?
Responding to the mayor's claim of a possible parking meter return as a fallback revenue measure, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal slammed the mayor, reminding him that the roads belong to the state.
It is the state's property. The government is simply removing one agency that had responsibility over the state's asset and putting it into the hands of another agency.
Nandlal insisted that under the Roads Act, the government's action is both lawful and necessary in the public interest. During his program Issues in the News, Nandlal argued the state can take over that which is the state's property in the first place, so that response is misconceived. According to Nandlal, what is changing is supervisory jurisdiction, the lawful responsibility for managing and maintaining those roads, which is being moved from the Georgetown Mayor and City Council to the Ministry of Public Works. He maintained that both the decision itself and the process being implemented are lawful and have been clearly outlined. Nandlal has since rebuffed the mayor's claim that the government is seeking to choke the council's revenue streams.
The government would be most happy if the city council can generate its own revenue and can manage the city.
He said it is not the government's desire to run City Hall, but rather to ensure citizens receive a basic standard of service. Nandlal warned that the mayor's suggestion to revive the parking meter scheme should ring alarm bells among residents. Residents and businesses from across the city, he recalled, had united to condemn the project and ultimately forced its abrupt halt. He reminded, too, that the government is currently awaiting a ruling in a case brought about by the then contracted firm, Smart City Holdings, that eventually sued the state for damages of US $100 million. Marvin Cato, reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned, we have more news for you. Welcome back with the HGP Nightly News. As we continue, a recent family tragedy that stunned the nation is now prompting calls for a deeper look at the emotional pressures some mothers may be facing behind closed doors. Clinical Psychotherapist Dr. Shane Tall says this conversation cannot stop at shock and grief. Here is more.
In wake of the recent killing of a young girl by her mother and attempting killing of the woman's young son, clinical physiotherapist Dr. Shane Tall is urging Guyanese to confront what he believes may be deeper pressures affecting mothers and families, pressures that often remain hidden until it's too late. Tull says the national conversation must move beyond the details of one painful case and focus on what can be done at both the family and policy levels to identify distress earlier and protect children. At the household level, Tull says relatives and those closest to the family have a responsibility to act when they see signs that a mother may be overwhelmed or that children may not be getting the care and attention they need.
Sometimes just offering help is important. And remember that we don't live in the intergenerational households like we used to, your great aunt or your grandmother is always there. There's always somebody there. We live very individualized where it's just a nuclear family, and the mom might be home with those children all day while the dad is away. And by the time he comes home, she's completely exhausted, and so is he. So he don't want to be bothered with the kids. The kids are going to really be seeking more attention from her.
He believes women attending maternity clinics and related appointments should receive basic mental health assessments as part of routine care. That, he says, could help health workers identify early warning signs and connect struggling mothers with counseling, therapy, or medication where necessary.
We think that, the mother's in the house, she's home all day, she can take care of the children, but that's a huge job because she has to meet all of their needs and manage a home and deal with her own interpersonal stuff, and then there's a father coming home looking for that same kind of attention and that same support at the end of the day. So I really believe that we need to really put a human face on this story.
Tull, however, noted that these acts can also be a warning sign of wider social pressures affecting mothers, children, and support systems around them. He affirmed that prevention must begin earlier, with stronger family involvement, better screening, and more accessible mental health care. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
A charity seamstress who says she has served the community for 26 years is now pleaded for fairer treatment, claiming that conditions under which she is being asked to operate are making it difficult for her to earn a living. More in this report.
Lila Suku, a familiar face at the charity Amazon market for more than 2 decades, says she wants to return fully to the market, but claims the stall assigned to her is not suitable for her work and that the conditions around it are making matters worse. Suku claimed that her original stall was not damaged when the charity market was destroyed by fire 3 years ago, but claimed that she was later instructed to move in order to facilitate reconstruction works by Builders Hardware. Suku was offered a stall when the market was rebuilt, but according to her, the problem is not that she refuses to move into the market, but that the stall provided cannot properly hold the materials and equipment she needs to continue plying her trade.
It's not like I don't want to go in the Amazon market, but it's like the market can accommodate me to put all my things inside. If I get it tomorrow, sell my stall in the Amazon market with my back door and everything, so I could get a changing room and everything, I'll be leaving here and go there. I'm not failing from going in more.
Adding to her frustration, Suku said the location temporarily assigned to her is close to a garbage trailer, creating what she described as an unbearable environment for someone trying to run a business. She appealed for the trailer to be moved.
Recently, this trailer come. The NDC people trying to put me out of here when they didn't give me good enough stall to put my cloths, my machine, my table, and all what I'm doing to ply my trade. So now when I ask them to move the trailer, they still continue putting this trailer, and this garbage is so smelly.
Suku questioned why more consideration has not been given to her circumstances, saying she believes she is only asking for a workable space and a degree of dignity, referring to the government's message of unity. Nightly News made several attempts to contact relevant authorities at the Neighborhood Democratic Council for a comment, but was unsuccessful. Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
President Irfaan Ali on Wednesday announced that the government will undertake to review laws regarding littering, emphasizing the potential use of cameras to capture offenders, as well as imposing stricter fines. Antonio Day has that story.
On the sidelines of an event, President Irfaan Ali told reporters that he has instructed Attorney General Anil Nandalal to amend current regulations on quote-unquote littering to include enforcement through recorded evidence. Currently, littering is a punishable offense under the Environmental Protection Litter Enforcement Regulations of 2013, where individuals face fines of $50,000, while companies can incur fines of $100,000 for similar violations. President Ali highlighted that addressing these issues is vital for the advancement of society, given the nascent tourism sector.
On the issue of garbage and illegal littering, I have asked the Attorney General to amend all the rules, the laws, to reflect the changing landscape of our security.
He is of the staunch view that drastic measures are necessary to promote a cleaner and eco-friendly society.
And that is the use of camera evidence against persons who are littering. So I've asked him to have all of these amendments ready.
The head of state linked the need for environmental responsibility of Guyana's growth objectives, asserting that to establish a nation as a leader in tourism, technology, food, and energy, it must demonstrate a commitment to environmental stewardship and quality of life.
If our society is to be disciplined, and if we want to create the Guyana that would be a leader in tourism, technology, food, energy, we must be a leader with conscience, a leader with humility, and a leader with a sense of environmental stewardship.
Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security has embarked on a campaign dedicated to raising awareness, preventing sexual violence, and supporting survivors. Marvin Cato has that story.
2026 marks the 25th anniversary of the Sexual Assault Awareness Movement, which focuses on educating communities, promoting consent, and fostering environments that prevent abuse. Minister of Human Services and Social Protection, Dr. Vindi Prasad, is leading the charge with an awareness campaign.
April is the month dedicated to sexual assault awareness. This is Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Dr. Prasad said the focus, which is geared towards awareness, education, and encouragement, caters to those either at school or work, using simple decorative tools to create a sample booth which will be used to bring awareness to the issue. The minister encouraged organizations to visit their Cornell office at Stabroek Market to uplift campaign materials for optimum participation. How can a school or organization participate?
We are encouraging you to have similar spaces at your place of work or at school.
The awareness booth places emphasis on the hotline number 914, which is a safe call space which places emphasis on reporting cases of sexual abuse. She reminded every child, every citizen, every adult, your voice, your body, those are yours and they are important in the fight against sexual assault.
Consent is not an option. Consent is essential.
The awareness exercise encourages taking action to promote prevention. During this month, activities will include walk a mile in our shoes and educational outreach. Efforts are also focused on teaching consent, changing social norms, and strengthening policies to stop violence before it happens. Listening, believing, and respecting the privacy of survivors are emphasized as crucial actions. Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned, more news ahead. You're watching the HGP Nightly News. Thanks for staying with us. On Wednesday, Guyana and St. Kitts and Nevis signed 3 MOUs to enhance cooperation in security, agriculture, and government modernization, vital for both nations and the Caribbean. Antonio Day reports.
On Wednesday, Guyana and St. Kitts and Nevis further solidified their partnership with the signing of 3 key MOUs at the Office of the President. These agreements focus on enhancing cooperation in security, agriculture, and food security and government modernization areas essential for the development and resilience of both nations and the broader Caribbean region. The first MOU lays a robust framework for bilateral cooperation in non-lethal defense and security measures to foster a safe environment through shared strategies and resources. The second agreement aims to enhance agriculture and food security by promoting strategic partnerships for sustainable practices and food availability, benefiting both local populations and wider Caribbean community. A third agreement was signed by Ghana Defense Force Chief of Defense, Brigadier Omar Khan, and Major Coyote Sutton of the St. Kitts and Nevis Defense Force. Both nations committed to improving performance assessment systems across ministries and government entities, fostering transparency, efficiency, and accountability. This partnership underscores their dedication to good governance and delivery of effective public services. Head of State Irfan Ali made this statement during the signing of a commitment to global environmental stewardship.
You are now part of this massive undertaking in safeguarding biodiversity that is linked to the survival of our pharmaceutical industry, linked to the survival of culture, heritage, and of course, the survival of our planet.
Meanwhile, St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew emphasized the importance of biodiversity in discovering life-sustaining drugs.
We know that a lot of our pharmaceuticals come from the earth, come from the land, come from the natural environment. The biodiversity is critically important to ensure that we continue to discover those drugs, those pharmaceuticals that are important for life.
By working together in security, agriculture, government modernization, and environmental conservation, both nations are poised to build a more secure, sustainable, and prosperous future for themselves and the Caribbean region. St. Kitts and Nevis was also confirmed as a member of the Global Biodiversity Alliance. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned for regional news.
Good evening and welcome to Thursday's edition of the Regional News. I'm Antonio Day. Here's what you need to know as we turn attention to news in the region. Dr. Harbers Barbosa, Director of PAHO, warns that the rise in dengue and arboviral diseases reflects on how environmental changes are impacting global health. He noted that dengue has evolved beyond being a tropical disease, with the Americas reporting over 30 million cases and 8,000 deaths in 2024, the largest epidemic to date. Barbosa advocates for a One Health approach, urging collaboration across sectors, not just health. He highlighted the importance of partnerships with PAHO centers and international entities for advancing research and cooperation. The One Health Summit promotes coordinated science-based responses to infectious risk. Over to news in Jamaica. The Jamaican government says it is investigating reports that students are being exposed to sex by Hurricane Melissa victims who are still sheltering in some schools. Jamaica's Education Minister Dana Morris Dixon said allegations of such gravity must be treated with utmost urgency and specificity. Quoting, "Any allegation of inappropriate behavior in a shelter environment, particularly where children may be affected, is a matter of the greatest seriousness," the minister stated. Still continuing, "I was shocked to hear the public allegation from Dr. Mark Malver, president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, for the first time, by the way of a public address. I hope he made formal reports to all relevant authorities before doing so. Nonetheless, I'm urging Dr. Malver to urgently share with the ministry any reports, details, dates, locations, or any other information in his possession, so that these matters can be fully investigated without delay." The Jamaican Teachers Association president, while addressing the opening ceremony of the Education Conference 2026 on Tuesday, spoke of reports that students are being given a front row seat to sex acts engaged in by Hurricane Melissa victims sheltering in some schools. And finally, on the international spectrum, all U.S. ships, aircraft, weapons, military personnel will remain quote-unquote in place in and around Iran until a full agreement is reached, U.S. President Donald Trump said in a post to Truth Social late Wednesday. If for any reason it is not, which is highly unlikely, then the shooting starts, bigger and better and stronger than anyone has ever seen before, Trump wrote. Iran must have no nuclear weapons and the Strait of Hormuz must be open and safe, Trump added. US-Iran negotiations will occur in Islamabad on Saturday. Meanwhile, Tehran held large morning gatherings on Thursday, marking 40 days since Ayatollah Khamenei's death, a significant period in Shia Islam. Crowds waved flags and displayed portraits of the late leader. That has brought us to the end of Thursday's edition of the Regional News. I'm Antonio Day saying goodbye and do have an enjoyable rest of the evening.
Let's now join Delwyn Neblet for HGP's Sports Pulse.
Good evening, Guyana. I'm Delwyn Neblet with your HGP TV Sports Pulse for today, Thursday, April 9, 2026. As part of the government's ongoing efforts to enhance sporting facilities across Guyana, the Minister within the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honorable Stephen Jacobs, conducted a community outreach exercise at the Bat Community Center in Region 5 on Wednesday. The Minister engaged directly with residents to assess infrastructure needs and discuss strategic interventions for youth empowerment. Moving into cricket, Secretary of the West Indies Players Association, Wayne Lewis, has indicated that the association will be engaging Cricket West Indies over all-rounder Kevin Sinclair's non-selection to the Ghana Harpy Eagles squad. Guyanese officials at a recent press conference cited ongoing disciplinary issues while highlighting the negative effects of Sinclair's alleged actions on the team's unity. Sinclair released a statement defending his actions, saying his intensity comes from his passion for the game. Lewis and the West Indies Players Association are hoping that the issue can be resolved as expeditiously as possible. More in cricket, Guyana have officially been announced as the hosts of the 2026 Over 40s Masters Cricket World Cup, scheduled to be played from October 17 to October 31st. 60 nations, including Australia, England, and India, are expected to feature in the tournament. The West Indies team will be headlined by former senior men's captain Ramnari Sarwan and also includes two-time world champion Lendl Simmons. Into cycling, the Ghana Cycling Federation are set to host their three-stage independent cycle meet from May 23rd to 24th, with races in region numbers 3, 4, and 10. Stage 1 features 75 miles from Linden to Yarracabra, then returning to Linden, while Stage 2 will feature a 55-mile coastal race commencing at the Independence Arch and ending at Schoonard. The event will conclude with an intense 41-mile circuit race. Finally, in football, action took place in the Petra Organization's 2026 Massey Distribution Under-18 Schools Football League, with 8 Round 2 fixtures at the Queen's College Ground in Georgetown on Wednesday. Victories on the day came in favor of East Rheinveld Secondary, Yarracabra Secondary, Charlestown Secondary, St. John's College, West Rheinveld Secondary, and Santa Rosa Secondary. That's it for this edition of the HGP TV Sports Pulse. I'm Delwyn Neblet, reminding you to stay in the game.
Ali backs CARICOM'S decision as a TNT challenges reappointment of Secretary General. Guyana pushes back against the Suriname river fees. Talks intensify. Charity SEAMSTRESS pleads for fair treatment as stall issues threaten livelihood. Ministry of Human Services and the Social Security launch sexual awareness campaign. And in sport, West Indies Players Association to launch probe into all-rounder Kevin Sinclair's exclusion from Guyana squad. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm ALETHEA. Thanks for watching.